Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Don Shake. I am the channel manager here in the Central Region for SecurityScorecard. Over the next 15 minutes, really what I want to do is talk to you about risk and kind of take a different look at risk and how it can help your security practice, as well as help you sell more solutions like Trend Micro in different areas like endpoint through network. So while we talk, I'd love it if you want to respond, come off mute and respond and make this a little bit interactive. But question for the group, does anybody know where most breaches happen?
Third party.
Third party, yeah, Mark, nice way, you cheater. You've heard this before. Mark is definitely correct. 60% of all data breaches happen due to third party. Now, what do we do for our customers? We sell them everything to protect them against a direct onslaught. Everything from network to endpoint for email, infrastructure, application, you name it. And they have all these tools and now they're secure. But the reality is the people they're doing business with, the people they're letting connect to their network or access sensitive data, are they doing the same things? And that's the reason why 60% of all data breaches happen due to third parties. One of the biggest reasons why that happens is the methods that customers use to evaluate risks are outdated, right? Depending on the vertical or the type of customer, things might include SOC 2 audits, they might include pen tests, which are great today, but tomorrow when your network changes, pen tests are a little outdated already. But the biggest thing that customers use to manage third-party risk is questionnaires. And 82% of customers still use Excel as the basis for questionnaires. Now, the problem with questionnaires is people don't maliciously answer incorrectly. Think of SolarWinds. They didn't answer anything maliciously. The intern, right? Or it gets put off to an intern who puts in a password of SolarWinds 123. The other thing is, if you're vying for a contract, you might say that you have something in place, even though you don't, in order to win the contract. And that's exactly what happened with Target and the HVAC vendor. I always kind of liken questionnaires to online dating, right? If I was to say I was 46 with a dad bod and graying, I'd probably get 0 responses. But if I said I was 46, athletic, and used my picture from 10 years ago, maybe 1 or 2 responses. So the problem with questionnaires is there's no visibility into those answers being given. So what I want to do is kind of walk you through the journey of how we could start with a questionnaire process and help your customers with that, and then move into the benefits that continuous monitoring gives those questionnaires. So from a questionnaire perspective, we have a module in our platform called Atlas. It allows you to send and receive questionnaires in an automated fashion, provide you visibility, additional security, having one platform to securely log on to, and collaboration with your third parties. So now when you want to send a questionnaire, you could choose from one of our many templates that are built after the compliances you see today, from NIST to CMMC, SIG, PCI, HIPAA. You can take any one of these and send them out as your own. You can take any one of these and customize them as your own, or you can actually upload one of your own templates you already send out today, or questionnaires. Now, when you send it out, in today's world, the 82% of companies, they get that questionnaire back and they go through it and they say, okay, everything looks good. Let's move on, file that, send it back out next year. Now with SecurityScorecard, you can get a questionnaire back from your third party and filter by a bunch of different information here that you see. I'm going to filter by yes, because yes generally indicates somebody actually has something in place. So if I start going down the list here and I start looking at 5.12, they're saying yes, that their policies for information shall be reviewed and planned, blah, blah, blah. Well, if I correlate that yes to the information we're pulling on our scans, they have an F in network security as well as an F in DNS health. So this yes and these responses or these findings don't match. You would never get this information on Excel. You would just have to accept this at face value and move on and potentially risk yourself to breach because of this being answered incorrectly. Well, now because you can see our data, You can collaborate with your third party saying you need information. You can ask them to attach evidence so that this yes doesn't become a risk because of these things that we're pulling. So it gives you a whole different level of visibility that companies don't have today. There's a bunch of other things within this, but due to lack of time, there's things where you can set up reminders and make sure people are filling them out on time. There's a whole bunch of other things. But from an answer perspective, I think this is where there's a lot of value as well. In the answer section, you can come to this answers and evidence repository and upload any questionnaires you've ever answered previously as an organization. And now when you get that questionnaire from another vendor, it'll use AI to map that question to answers you've already given previously. So if we were to get an ISO 27001 as a company here at SecurityScorecard, we would be able to map 111 or 97% of all the questions in that questionnaire to previous responses. Now, all we have to do is fill out 3 questions versus 114. There's significant time savings with being able to use AI to map these answers. You could also, when receiving in a questionnaire, maybe it's not your department that needs to answer that. You can actually route the questionnaires to the different departments and different people in order for them to fill out and respond as well. So again, becoming a very collaborative tool. Steve, can you do me a favor? Can you watch the chat box just to make sure if any questions are coming in, we get them?
Yep, I will.
Thank you, sir. So now, in most organizations' world, this is where their vendor risk management or their third-party due diligence stops. They got the questionnaire back, they put it in the file cabinet, and again, next year they're going to send the exact same thing. Well, now, in our world, that changes a little bit, right? So I could pull up, for example, a scorecard on over 4.5 million different companies today. And the reason I pulled this one up is I wanted to show you why continuous monitoring is so important. Last year, when I sent that questionnaire out, they had a 78 as their overall score. Today, this organization has a 51, and you can see all these changes, right? These dips, as well as a breach on September 18th of 2020. Without continuous monitoring and only using Excel for your questionnaires, you would have never known any of this was happening. You would have never known this organization was a risk to your business if they didn't disclose that breach to you. But because we're able to continuously monitor, we can show you those things, those items during that time frame that caused the score to drop. We can also show you when breaches happen and other things so that you're not left, vulnerable from their security posture. So how do we get the score? What are we pulling? What I want to do is take you about how we collect the information so you understand the score better. So on our digital footprint tab, what we're doing here is we have sensors set up around the entire globe to monitor the entire IP4 internet, honeypots and sinkholes. We're looking for any IPs related to this IPGphotonics.com domain. Based on our automated scans, we found about 2,000 IPs in 16 different countries. We show this level of detail, including the actual IPs, so that you can actually see how the data was obtained, the information about the IP, as well as the geolocation, allowing you to say, maybe that's not mine. We shouldn't have anything there. We shouldn't have IPs in X and X country, right? So now you can come in and say, hey, we need to remove this. It's not mine. Maybe it's public Wi-Fi. You can come in here and tell us this is public Wi-Fi. Our team will research this. If they agree, they'll remove that IP from future scans, so therefore it doesn't affect your score negatively. But all this data that we're pulling is all public IP. We're not going inside anyone's firewalls. We're not being intrusive. This is what anyone could see if they took the time to collect the IP about an organization publicly. Our competition does just that. They manually curate this data. So for them to pull these 2,000 IPs, it takes them about 3 days, whereas we take about 2 seconds if it's within our 4.5 million that we're monitoring today. If we're not monitoring a domain today, we could use something called Fast Score. Within 10 minutes, you have a provisional scorecard, And then within about a day, you'll have a full scorecard based on our polling. One of the other things that's unique about us and our competition is we have something called the Trust Portal. This is where we share with you how we collect the data, how we score the data, the number of organizations that we're currently monitoring on our platform. 2 weeks ago, that number was 2 million. We found a new way to ingest almost 7,000 IPs an hour into our platform, which is absolutely insane. We'll show you if anyone disputes our information, as well as the time it takes us to respond. The number of issues we're finding on those automated scans. Already this week, we found 28 billion issues on these scans, so they're very comprehensive. We'll show you accuracy and validation. And then what I love to show is this right here, that over a 13-week period, the vendors that are engaged on our platform actually have almost a 4.4 point higher score than companies that are not engaged. So let's go back to that platform. If I compare IPG Photonics to other companies with 2,000 IPs, they score 51, meaning they have significantly more risk than other companies their size. And you'll see under here, for you as resellers, this is really important because you'll see that under the 10 risk factors that we're scanning from, network security down to application, as well as social engineering, these are all categories where you can sell the solution to help fix your customer's risk, right? Maybe it's under networking. You can come in here and see from a low to high severity the issues we're finding versus the issues we're scanning for. And now you can sell the applicable Trend Micro solution to fix this issue. You might
Donald, quick question about that.
Yep.
I have a customer where I'm doing a security scorecard project actually as we speak. And I didn't know that I had access to this information if I knew beyond if they shared it with me. How, as the reseller, would we, get access to this information?
Yeah, you would talk to Steven or any one of your other Climb territory sales managers, and they would work with our channel team to make sure that you had the correct access and everything else so that you can load all your customers into the platform and monitor them.
Oh, that's awesome. And then I guess to your point, I never really thought of it like this. I thought of it as a more traditional software sale, but you do bring up an interesting point. Obviously, with this visibility, that's very unique to, other people that we sell. So that would be cool, not only profiling our customers to say who would be a good fit for SecurityScorecard, but to your point, looking for those other additional areas for sales. So that's great. I appreciate it. And I definitely need to follow up with Steven and team to see if I can get this pulled.
Sounds good. For example, here, if you didn't know what SPF record meant, you can click on any one of those findings. It'll give you a description of what it is, the associated risk, the recommendation to fix, any references that might be out there, as well as, again, domain or IP level information of where the risk is at. So another area, for example, where Trend Micro helps is with his email security. Now, it's one thing to report problems, right? Right now, I'm calling IPG's baby ugly with a 51. But the system itself or the platform itself is intuitive enough as well, where you as partners can, we've seen this before, create services around score mitigation and use the intelligence of the platform to create that. It takes 3 clicks. So let's just get them to a C so they can be average. The system will automatically generate a plan of all the things that need to be fixed in order to go from that 51 to a 72. And you can adjust that plan and pull in other things to it and see how that'll affect your score. Now you can go up to a 77. So you can use this score planner feature to create services for your customers, billable services hours. And you can download this plan in a CSV format and present it to the customer as what you're going to do from a services perspective. The other unique thing that we do in our platform is our company mantra is to make the world a safer place. Is when working with partners and not knowing if there's risk, using traditional methods, you would just assume things and then potentially get breached. With this platform, if I have a customer that is low like this, a 51 that concerns me, and you can see there's 75 people on our platform that follow IPG, you can actually invite that company into the platform. Now you notice that button said contact company. And what that means is somebody at IPG is using the platform, either the free version, which anyone in the world can get their free scorecard, or as a paid customer. This feature will allow you to potentially upgrade your contacts within your own customers as well, because every company that logs on to SecurityScorecard, whether free or paid, has to designate a contact for their organization. So maybe you don't know who the risk manager is. Now you could say, hey, it's Jeff. I see that you use the platform. Would love to talk to you about your experience. Hopefully it's a new contact for you. If they don't use the platform, it'll say invite company, and then you can actually send that to somebody specifically and give them parameters around score and time expectations for them to improve. You will also get updates as a sender if that person is making the applicable changes in order to improve their risk mitigation. Now, I know I'm running really close on time. I want to do two last quick things for you guys. One, I want to show you compliance. Under this compliance tab, you can see we have most of the compliances loaded for the industry today. We've also included the new CMMC. So if you're doing any work with the federal government, you can click on any one of these and we'll show you, based on the compliancy, the different sections of different questions where they're not in compliance and where they might be in compliance. And I bring this up because if someone were to fail an audit when it comes to compliance, there's some heavy fines involved. But one of the issues that we all face is customers saying, I don't have budget. You can use the compliance tab to show them that, hey, you're going to fail. Is the cost of the fines, is it more or less than what you would need to fix the problem? Use this tab to help your customers get the budgets they need to fix the risk that they have. Under our integrations, this is something new. This is all of our marketplace, which is pre-built API plugins to the systems that customers use the most. We recently added Slack and Jira, but you could see there's ServiceNow, there's RSA Archer. Most VRM programs are in here, including, ITSM like Splunk or IBM QRater, different service providers. Nice thing about this tab is it's grown probably 300% in logos in the last 6 months, and we'll continue to do that because we allow customers to request the different applications be pre-built for them. And then lastly, we've always had this really cool board summary report, which basically shows your risk and then your third-party risk overall general. We've now added this board trends report, which allows you to go back to the board and say, okay, of all the customers we're monitoring today are third parties, here's what our overall risk looks like. It's an 88, but you can see at any time what it looks like, as well as the different types of risk, right? How many are new, existing, decayed, how many have been remediated, shows how many organizations that you're monitoring over time, as well as the active organizations within those being monitored, and then those being breached, what those companies are and what's going on within those. And then last but not least, the top and bottom movers within your security portfolio. So you can see these organizations are taking the right steps to mitigate the risk, whereas these organizations should be a big concern for you. And with that, again, just as a reminder, our job is to see where the risk is. And I'm now going to turn it over to Trend Micro, who will show you how they can fix the risk over a really comprehensive set of products from endpoint, email, infrastructure, and network.
Presentation. I appreciate you doing that for the team. That's really good. My name is Denny Fitzgerald, and I am I don't know if everybody can see my screen or not, but I am the distribution channel manager here at Trend Micro. Work obviously with Climb. First of all, thank you to Climb for allowing Trend Micro to sponsor this event. Looks like a lot of fun. This is the first time I've been involved with this, so thank you for that, and obviously thank you to SecurityScorecard for their including us in in the event also. Thank you very much. I'll probably take 10 minutes or less, to be honest with you. I'll just start out by just talking about Trend Micro overall. Those who don't know us, we've been around for 30 years, been in cybersecurity that whole time, have customers that stem from the top 45 of 50 global corporations out there, work with 500,000 commercial customers and 250 million endpoints that we protect out there. So not only do we have enterprise products, but we also have small business products and also consumer products that we can provide customers. So again, pretty comprehensive company that's been around for a long time and has been obviously securing corporations and small businesses for quite some time. One of the key things I think with Trend Micro that I found is that it provides a very comprehensive set of solutions that you can sell your customers. We were talking about on the security scorecard, all the number of things that can be assessed. We have solutions for hybrid cloud security, which is really about infrastructure, whether that's physical, virtual cloud. We have network defense. We also have user protection, which encompasses the endpoint products that we have. And also we're all connected. So that's really important in today's, complex security environment, right? Where all the products need to talk to each other, and we do that through the smart protection network that communicates with all these products. And again, if we find something on endpoint, then we can remediate a threat, then we can push it over to the other solutions, making sure the full network is secured. Essentially, we had a partner event not too long ago, and they talked about how comprehensive our product sets were. We have, 80. They say you can secure 80% of your network with Trend Micro. So that's pretty comprehensive. Back in the day, if many of you folks were working in IT back then, there really was not a lot of comprehensive solutions that existed out there. You really had to choose different products to secure your network. If you start with your firewall and then you built from there, right? Well, now really the market's moving towards more cohesive solutions and similar. Obviously, that's what we participate in here at Trend Micro. And another key product that we have within the set is XDR, which is really the up and coming and the new opportunity to secure a network. Really is like a data pool. We'll talk about a little bit more where you can use big data analytics as well as AI to really root out very difficult security issues that your network is experiencing. So this is, I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but this is just the breakdown of our products versus the solutions that we have. Tipping Point, which is an IPS solution, as well as Deep Discovery, which is a sandboxing tool. They're the main products that are involved in our networking solution. We have Apex One, which is our endpoint solution, but our endpoint solution can protect email gateway, also web gateway. It also protects mobile devices, laptops, obviously, and desktops, which normal endpoints would do. We also have a strong Office 365 and Google Docs solution to help keep those protected, and also MS Exchange and MS SharePoint. On top of that, I talked about the hybrid cloud solution that includes deep security that protects physical, virtual, and cloud. So a great part of that is that you can use one solution to create policies over all those different environments, so which is unique, right? So it's important, again, to use all these solutions that exist out there, and all these feed into XDR, which we talked about a couple seconds ago. And again, that's a new process in really securing networks from the sophisticated threats that exist out there. So not only do we have a lot of products, but we also are leaders in the marketplace within those products. And for you, obviously, that's important when you're recommending us to your customers. You have the opportunity and don't have to concern that the products that you're recommending, they are good, and they're not, you won't have issues with them long term. As you can see on the left-hand side, we are in the leadership quadrant for endpoint protection platforms. What's critical about that is we've been in that leadership quadrant since 2002. And, during that time, we've seen lots of our competitors come in and leave and come in and leave, right? But we're constantly innovating, constantly making the products better. So we stay in that leadership quadrant. So again, something you can feel confident to recommend to your customers. Second one, they don't have a Gartner Magic Quadrant for cloud workload security or the hybrid cloud solution that we have. So we're number one, you can see in that. And then to the right is the intrusion detection and prevention, which is our networking solution. Again, you see us in the leadership quadrant there. So again, not only do we have a comprehensive set of products that you can sell your customer, but they're also leaders in the marketplace. So talking about a little bit about more about XDR, for those of you who are not familiar with that, really it's basically what we do is put sensors on all of our security products, which push data into this data pool. And all that telemetry data goes into that pool, creating a lot of correlation that goes on. That's really important when it comes, again, with sophisticated threats. What we're finding today is that a threat can come in from email, it can come in from some other attack vector, and it isn't detected. But if you put it into this pool and correlate that data, you could see a lot more and detect a lot more. And that's what makes XDR and detection response so effective in today's security landscape. But again, we stated it provides artificial intelligence and big data analytics to correlate that data and find and root out security issues that haven't existed or that you haven't found in other sources. Beyond, the sort of the traditional, I'll call them security activities, we also have a Cloud One, which is a cloud native SaaS-based platform that's exclusively for cloud environments. So if you have somebody, and as many are going and experimenting with the cloud right now, there really is a different set of tools that is needed to protect the cloud compared to protecting a traditional environment. You can see here when you look at some of the pieces of this cloud that we have in this graphic, we have IPS, we have workload and server security. All those are familiar faces because we already have those in our traditional. So we've put them in a SaaS format and built it specifically for the cloud. So it really does a great job protecting the cloud in that environment. What's one thing that's really interesting is on the far right, you can see cloud conformity. This is really an assessment tool for the cloud. And what a lot of things we're finding is that although customers are going to the cloud, the big misnomer there is that the Googles of the world and the AWSs are saying, hey, if you go to the cloud, you're secure. Well, if the data just sits there and does nothing, then yeah, sure, you're really secure. But the reality is that it's being assessed from everywhere. That's, whether it's a tablet, an endpoint, wherever that's being assessed, that's happening. That's the whole idea for cloud, is to have easy accessibility, right? So this tool actually goes out and assesses those configurations to the cloud, and it helps customers really understand where they're falling down, where their vulnerabilities exist within the cloud. So beyond that, beyond again the sort of the more traditional cloud enterprise type environments, we're really strong mid-market and SMB, as I stated earlier. That's really our worry-free product base. And again, that provides endpoint and email security. It has multi-platform support, really strong in Office 365 protection. It provides complete protection similar to our enterprise products, and it's enterprise type security that's pushed down into our SMB market. So again, customers who are maybe not spending as much are still getting strong security that you can provide to your customers. And then on top of that, we have an MSP program that's been around for quite some time. In fact, about 9 to 10 years, provides a strong product set. Again, it's a monthly billing, so it's a little bit different than some of the traditional environments out there. It really is ease of entry, so there's no real cost to enter. with us. The only time you really get billed is if a customer uses it, and obviously we bill you, and you can go on and bill your customer. It has multi-tenant capabilities where it separates the usage from one customer to another, so it's really easy to bill that customer and put your markup on top of that. And then we have a strong customer support, as we do with other products that we have, where you have an account manager and a technical manager that's assigned to those programs. So very strong program that if you're in the MSP space, definitely something we'd like you to look at. So that's really, again, I said it was going to take a short amount of time. This is what I did. These are our contacts, myself, obviously, and Chris Hovey, who exists at Climb Channel Solutions. These are our main brand sales specialists there. Please, if you have any questions or would like to look at any of our products in more detail, we'd be happy to do that. And with that, I'll probably turn it over to Steve and let him start the process, start the fun for today.
Hey, well, we have another 10 minutes before the game starts, but hey, Hovey, do you want to introduce yourself real quick to everyone out there?
Yeah, I sure did. Thank you very much. So I'm Chris Hovey. I'm the Trend Micro brand sales specialist here at Climb. I've been around Trend's organization for probably 15 years or so. Came over to Climb with the acquisition of Interwork last year. So seen a lot of changes over the years, a lot of progression with Trend's portfolio. And as Denny mentioned, they're not just endpoint. They've got a solution for, every layer that you can think of a customer's network. So one thing I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention is some of their channel programs and some of the spiff programs that are going on right now. I'll just call out one. There's a $250 meeting spiff. So if you set up an appointment for Trend, that's worth $250 to you as a seller. There's some other back-end spiffs and some other programs like that. I'd be happy to tell you more about them. And then lastly, I was just going to say, looking at the registration list, there's a lot of familiar names out there. Thank you very much for your business, but there's a lot of names that, I haven't worked with in the past. So I would, love to talk to you about your practice. Maybe there's a fit, and you could set that up at any time. I'm sure my name won't be hard to find at the end of this, and then certainly through Chin. So
yeah, and we're going to support you guys, right? Hovey's our Trend specialist. Don't be scared to reach out to any of your field reps, myself, or even Chris on it, right?